Blasting what he called its glaring flaws, Donald Trump announced the U.S. will leave the Iran nuclear agreement.
The Iran deal is defective at its core. If we do nothing, we know exactly what will happen. Therefore, I am announcing today that the United States will withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal.
Trump is immediately reimposing Iran sanctions, which had been lifted as part of the 2015 agreement.
Today's action sends a critical message. The United States no longer makes empty threats. When I make promises, I keep them.
In Iran, President Hassan Rouhani said he's open to staying in the deal, but warned Tehran could begin enriching uranium if the talks fail.
I ordered the Iranian Atomic Energy Organization to be ready for action if needed, so that, if necessary, we can begin our industrial enrichment without any limitations.
America's closest allies had mounted a last-minute effort to convince Trump to stay in the deal. Britain's foreign secretary went so far as to appear on Trump's favorite cable news show, Fox and Friends.
But you've got to do that without just throwing the baby out with the bathwater, without scrapping the whole thing. Because if you do that, you have to answer the question, what next?
The Iran nuclear deal was signed in 2015 between Iran, the U.S., Britain, France, China, Russia, and Germany. Trump complained that the deal allowed Iran to resume some nuclear activities after 10 years. He didn't like that the accord didn't address Iran's support for militant groups, and he was upset it didn't restrict Iran's ballistic missile program.
We just can't let the political leadership of an important Middle Eastern country do what the Ayatollah is doing. It's wrong, it's immoral, it's not good for the Iranian people, it's not good for the world, and we've asked him to stop. And diplomacy hasn't worked. And, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Without the U.S., it's unclear how long the deal will last. Some say not long.
This may not result in the collapse of the deal immediately. It probably won't. But eventually, it will lead to the collapse. Iran will eventually decide to withdraw.
And to some critics, that makes it more likely than ever that Iran eventually gets a nuclear weapon.
When you sign an agreement and within 2 years you change governments, the next government reneges on the agreement, it's sure to make other countries that might enter into big agreements with you, particularly countries like the North Koreans that are most analogous to the Iranians of anybody else we're dealing with, think twice.
Trump said he is interested in negotiating a new deal with Iran. However, he said the same thing after pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord and the Trans-Pacific Partnership free trade deal. So far, there's been no apparent success at those renegotiations. Bill Gallo, VOA News, Washington.